Hey there, welcome back. I've left the tablet beneath. This is going to be very low energy. My head still hurts and I am yet to ascertain fully why. But I have things I need to be doing. Mostly preparation for an awful lot of content. Things I have recording. And that includes, drawing something of everything with my Pathfinder party. So let me just set this up. Oddly loud. Hopefully not too loud for everyone. Okay, first of all, I get to scan through the army of brushes I have for an interesting one. See, that looks tempting. Oh, we've got... Yeah, I should start with this. That's the... Is that the one I normally use? No, that's... Oh, something about this one feels really smooth. I should try and use this one more. I don't think it's the one I normally use. Yes, it is. I'm being an idiot. Okay. That's the one I've already tried. Okay, we have a few here that I could make do with. See, I'm thinking this one, because it's got that rough texture to it. It'll make it look good with little effort. And it keeps the sketchy feel. So that one's probably going to be it. Yeah, same with this one. This one has to be led more. No, not that. That one I know that's just a larger one. No. No, I do think this is the one we work with. So let's start. No, not filled. Let's go with, say, stop. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to use that as my... I don't know what the animation term is, alright? I don't know anything about any of this. So one of my players saw this, saw the announcement, and immediately started to worry. For indications that I'm planning for things in this system is a cause for some concern. Means threats and warnings. I'm just going to make a note for myself, a list. My brain struggles to remember the names of those who I've been running games for so long. I can check my scripts. This one. Ah, of course. Yes, or a ninja's Elclist to skip Farabaldi, Corazel, Niana, and Winnie. Right, I have 9 people to draw. And this time at least I'm going for the simplified versions. Damn, there are some grand looking furbolgs to be found. Just do even such cursory searches. Okay. These chains and learn to breathe. God. Oh, it does have. There is immediate pressure difference. Some kind of melody. See, the dream that me inside. Sleep is for the weak. You know where I'll be. Takes the pain away. Darkness that covers everything. Now, how will this look? It's for the weak. take the pain away. That covers everything. This poor man is about to soon resemble Gromit. Or Wallace, rather. What's it? Shadows that create neath their way. Oh, yo. Be this way, hiding in shadows I create, and crush beneath their way. Okay, that's that one. Whew, pardon me. This way. Oh, that hurt my throat. Fire. Yeah. Liar. Whew. The most beneficial thing of this sort of style is that there's much less need to be exact about your proportions. This runs no risk of changing the faces of the ones you intend to protect. Hmm. Dark exile needs to stop and caving in. Sounds the voices from within. Just I can erase. Just I can. What's the song? Ooh, hang on a second. This is This is Voices by Alesti, Alesti. It should have been. It should have actually been moving on to another song, but apparently not. Yeah, welcome in. As per usual, sleep evades me. Yes, you being here is definitely unusual for the time of day. I may recommend the application of a mallet, though I take no responsibility for consequences. What's the point where that sounds like a good idea? Well, should you choose to pursue that line of thinking, please be sure to include me in your will, and also that for the sake of legal things, 'twas a joke. So I would rather be protected from the recourse of actions which are definitely not in any way endorsed by my own words. Much obliged. Yes, I am attempting, at least in some respect, to uh, practice my simpler drawings, though as you can see, it's not going as well as I might hope. Not so random. These are to be simple versions of characters for things like shorts, for the recorded content that I still have yet to properly work on. Ow. And unfortunately, we start with a somber occasion, as this is Ronin, the Firbolg fighter and smith, who lamentably only a few sessions ago died. He is replaced by Niena, a magus, who the party have recently discovered to be one of the fair folk, but it's still a cause for concern for them. Else there? No. But I do need the practice, so I intend to. Well, I have to cover the entire party and a handful of other things for other pieces. Hope they end up integrating. Well, they do seem to have done so. It's the same. It's of course the same player brings a new face to the table. One that adds much needed range to the party. They have become more balanced recently. It used to be such that they were incredibly capable should the foe be close, but would suffer if they were impeded in moving in any way. That is to say, for some time, the range of the party was the 20-foot reach of Ronin's Fashat. Even if Vanguard's not enough scouts, good to hear that they're a bit better rounded. They are now. They have quite a sensible orientation now. Up front, there is Giselle, the Goliath Inquisitor Mortal Usher. her damage never quite succeeded Ronin's, but she was never weak. She simply had fewer opportunities to do critical strikes. She wields a blunt weapon, and they simply do not strike weak points so often. Hello, I see creature. You sort of see one. Certainly. Yes, up front is Giselle, who handles much of their front line now. And beside her is is Pharaoh who strikes very little power, but has ended fights by simply tying an enemy down and bullying them. Before then talked yourself out knowing Rogue Trader is good. Rogue Trader is good. I can certainly vouch for it. Though it is a game where you need to be prepared to quick load a lot. And it'll be more difficult for someone who is not used to the D100 systems and the way they work. Even I am not doing incredibly well with it. But I would heartily recommend it over Diablo 4. Like XCOM or Larian games in terms of difficulty, I have only played Divinity Original Sin 2, and I have never played a single XCOM game. So I would trend more towards Larian, given that with XCOM your people are not meant to survive, or not always expected to survive. Um, a character dying properly is rare and exceptional. It's based on Rogue Trader. It's based on a system where you're expected to have a party of individuals. I would still say it biases a little less than Larian's difficulty can be, but I don't know how they performed with Baldur's Gate. I know that the fights got... Actually, no. No, belay that. I lie. I would say it matches up. The fights can be very difficult and very fast to swing one way or the other. Though there are means you can use to balance that out, such as a certain navigator's power, or giving a Sister of Battle a heavy bolter. How character creation is, because that may make or break it ultimately. I must confess, I cannot give clear advice on that. I started Rogue Trader already having played Warhammer Fantasy, so I'm familiar with the D100s. I know how they structure, I know how they feel to make. So I can't necessarily say if one would find it easier or harder. What about playing a TTRPG in a video game format? Did you not play Baldur's Gate 3? Look some gameplay videos and see if you like. See them, make your decision. That would be the most ideal, I think. It's a harder thing for me to describe when I haven't, without attempting to teach you how it may work. Weirdly constricted. I would not say it's weirdly. It's unsurprising, really. Okay, I have to do that the other way up. these kind of games control like house on console anyway. That I can see being an issue. Terminus makes a fair point. It may simply not be your style of game. And I can definitely attest to it being a little bit weird, especially in some places, even on PC. In particular, a certain ability that is very badly implemented. It makes it very difficult to place it properly. No workaround, so I can't blame anyone. Just welcome it not being exclusive. Yes, at least they make the attempt, though. Translating any high tactics game like that onto, I'm just thinking we're used to being able to BS with you stuff in groups. Of course, a necessary sacrifice to bringing a TTRPG to any digital format. I find these games. I found it with Wrath of the Righteous. Of course, it'll be found with Baldur's Gate 3, though that one has its benefits over the system it apes. That one has benefits over the system over the system it apes, but there is always the limitation that there is not a person behind the screen. That is not having it today. Looks like I'll be popping in and out to miss the last couple of minutes. That you're here at all is already quite kind. The last idea stuff and some such change for mechanical purposes and no actual DM players. There are costs to all these things. Well, that is certainly a character. There's one little guy done. You know what? I'm going to go back to this. It's more bouncy. Oh, the thighs. A Blorbo. It really is. It truly does carry that goblin look at the moment. I know what I need to do. With a big old schnoz. Out of it too is I don't know how to feel about seeing two possible player races as a to do enemies exclusively. The thing people found the strangest with that game was the lack of gnomes, and wasn't it Allied Dragonborn? Okay, that is a Ronin I may tick off. Now we move on to Giselle. because the Dark Age is default Dragonborn. Even so. What's the biggest disappointment? Patrons didn't matter, and if you weren't infernal, you got nerfed from the tabletop. Oh, that does seem unnecessary. This this does so much to put me off it. I wasn't going to buy it in the first place, but hearing that my favorite, hearing that that 5e's best class got nerfed. Oh, I know that's okay. Yes, this should not be working as it is. Been at this for too long. Let's see. Rito got no mind abilities because they got cannibalized for the gimmick of the story. They got hyper limited charms. Xifan was left mostly alone. Granted, the Fae didn't do incredibly well, especially for their lower level abilities. Or their capstone. The Warlock capstone for Fae is pretty bad. The game doesn't go to 20. Perhaps, perhaps not. I'm I'm past complaining about that since it, it would require more than that to be. But loading your beneficial punishing conditions. My fire to not feel outshone by the casters when I could take advantage of them. Well, it's generally spoken that the base rules were an improvement. you feel need explanations, it is much harder to pull up what it does when you see them. It's like how all the magic weapons are purely homebrew. That's not too much of a shock, though, given how much 5th edition always relied on homebrew items, on homebrew everything. Okay. Okay. Why is it not? One moment. Okay. Hopefully that should work. Didn't even notice the homebrew items, and so used to customized items being the norm. Out of pact you can sort with demons. That's a weird, that's a strange thing to do, given that that's very much just what the 3.5 one used to be more about, wasn't it? But really know what a lot of what I saw wasn't character specific. It feels like they wanted the Dirge to be the only OC for players, because a lot of the dialogue actions can be outright merciless. I don't know. I've played. There are some shockingly cruel decisions in. Uh, there are some shockingly cruel decisions in Rogue Trader as well. Walk away now. Looks bad. The explanation of how a good line character can jump to making a devil commit murder suicide. My God. Ugh. In a cage. For the lols, no, that is most certainly Trickster, a mythic path. The path that is quite literally for the lols. It's haunted one. Yes. Yes, that one background that I occasionally see pop up. Player drowned. Wolf does not come up in it at all in any of the underdog stuff. This is all somewhat going over my head, I must confess. Should be fine, but you find a sword dedicated to Alistair and have the option to get it with a dice roll or by following a tradition. Is it the naked dancing one? Is it the naked dancing one? given the presence of the bear scene, I'm disappointed. Just know that you find it lying around. Oh, I see. That's what the issue is. This seems a perfect example of getting too far into uncomfy directions. And we will not say any more about it because I don't want to get banned. The hammer is way too small. Yes, the mighty TOS. Even I am subject to its many whims. Disappointed the absolute does ultimately get killed because it would have been kind of cool if it escaped and suddenly the other tavern aligned. God. It's remarkable the kind of things the automod catches and the stuff it doesn't. Okay, we have the music going the way it's meant to now. How I feel about the twist surrounding the dream raft, the true nature of fear. Again, you are telling me things that I have no knowledge. I have nothing on, so. No, that's not right. Oh, oh, I see. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Villager, who was a mind flayer again. He was the founder of Baldur's Gate, of course. That's just weird because I'm not a fan of the trip we meet a legendary figure. It turns out they're kind of shit. In the context of wanting to reveal stuff as a lie, but when the legendary figure is just kind of shit for no other reason than to make them that, it just. I mean, that's kind of why people are like that. Surface Bass replies, "It's fine. I am here drawing. You're not exactly. It's not as though there is some ongoing session that you are missing." No. Unless, well, there may be a session going on, but it's not one that I know about anyway. Being asked if it were up to me, I'd have been the holy NOC. It's a bit of a conflict there because yes, they should be trying to tell their own story, but in worlds like the Forgotten Realms and that sort of setting, there is an onus on the developer to link things into the world. When it comes to things like Rogue Trader, there is less of that. Same with Divinity. When the world is less, when the world has a greater scale and fewer in canonical figures that they're being drawn from, there is less to there's less benefit to it. There's fewer figures to worry about. The boulder who won the game. When you put it like that, I see your point. But I kind of see it the same way as I kind of see it the same as the World of Warcraft movie. There's some impetus to try and link it to existing characters. So. Mm. That's why the default player name is Tav. That's the same name as the Dirge's final victim and main character of the novel. So that does answer one question that I had about how things were in the game. Oh, one of these two characters has just played a prank. What the hell? The game takes place immediately after the novel. What's going on? Oh, that's what. God. Oh, I'm looking at these two and I'm just I'm looking at these two and I'm just like, what did you do? The gremlin in their leash. That the abundance of short stacks that we are both aware of makes that a whole lot more lewd than you're intending it, I think. But it's also an accurate representation. Giselle was always the quote-unquote straight man of the team, while Ronan suddenly had a more excitable outlook on things. He would see something going incredibly wrong, and his response would be hell yeah. So admittedly, the Dead Trio stuff feels less important despite being the focus when you don't play the Dark Urge. I sure thing. Who's next is Callista. Okay, that should be an easier one. So stuff from the previous Baldur's Gates. And of course, play for yourself the inevitable joke about how one can be an antagonist when dead. As though that problem has already been solved. Oh right, the fucking I forgot this button makes it tileable. Infinite repeating. What's the main setting? Gods of Death. Sound delightful. I will stick with my Yetta. Even though I have a, let's call it, indifferent perspective on the gods. The three. What do I call them? Of darkness, murder, and bone. To the actual god of death, let them have his domain, so you can take a vacation. What a terrible idea! What an entirely terrible idea. The beast still grows, waiting, chewing through the ropes. Who are you to change this world? Silly boy, who needs to hear your words? Let it go. Carnival, carnival, won't you come to just me? Not exaggerating either, which is hilarious. It's hilarious in the most depressing way possible. Admittedly, they do less damage as this than when they were mortal adventurers, and suddenly they have way more rules. Yes, the restrictions of the gods. Oof. Hey, can you guess what? Can you guess perhaps what species this may be? Teeth? No, it's an angel. Though, to be strict, you would be correct with a tiefling. more interesting than Dirge than as the default player. As always, I have only your word to go on. Sure, I imagine it probably is. Either way, game just overhyped to me for what it is. That is, believe it or not, the impression I have gained from everyone who's played it. Whether those people liked it or not, they do tend to agree that it was that a good game, yes, but hardly an industry standard setter. And more just Larian standard. Because Larian's always done pretty good games. Just cheating out of my hunt, agree with the opinion. It's in my fun with friends part. Oh, it's Is it not even? Does it not even stand up to its solo? Or is it just the kind of game you would prefer with friends? As a world, it's Baldur's Gate 3. Mostly does. Prefer with pals to make decisions more in line with D&D. Well, trying to get my rank up to help with my buddies. I need to go back to that game at some point. I've heard it's gotten its resurgence for some reason. Capcom asks players to return to the game because of the announcement of a new game. Interesting decision. Well, because of resurgence, because they announced the new generation with a sequel to the world format that looks open world. And heard the Shinedown version of the song. Yeah, I have a lot of. You'll find a lot of covers and remixes and such in my playlists because that's just how they came to me. And in a number of cases, I end up preferring them to the original. I've heard bad things about Rise, but then I didn't like World. I bounced off it. I've been meaning to get back in to try and do a proper Greatsword run though, because well, that's Greatswords are kind of my baby. Even if I've been. Oh, by the way, I even failed to stay on Twin Blades for my latest Elden Ring run. I haven't actually used it before, but I ended up switching to Bloodhound Fang. The Fundex weapon, the one that people absolutely love, that it has some bullshit. I do mean slower than even the Dark Souls. Oh, I know. I've seen how they work. Uh, Bloodhound Fang seems to have some bullshit associated with it because its weapon art looks like it has iframes. Vila, my beloved. Have sweat and blood. Oh god, it actually does have iframes. Mercy me, that's a bit much. I thought something was a little bit strange when I was able to immediately slay 3 clockwork soldiers without taking a hit. To get into what, tell me, because I wouldn't mind hopping back on or starting new character with play with friends. Does it have cross compatibility? Mine is still on PC. I've done the 1, 2, 3. Get the ball. Control. I think so. I think my console PS4 for reference. Play before became more widely spread for everyone except Sony. That, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I'm. I do know people who would help me play. The problem with me was always, well, the two struggles I had with World was one that the weapons never felt they had enough kick. The second was how incomprehensibly, annoyingly clunky all of the menus were. So much faff and mess to navigate between missions. You're fixing the second one without a mod. That is unfortunately, yeah, that's one of the things that really keeps me away from getting involved with it. Whereas the menus are still on the clunky side. That's just a Monster Hunter thing. That's it's a lot. Isn't it a lot of like Japanese companies and um games designed with that kind of. There's a certain style of there's a certain trend in game design, I think, that came out of Japan that I just cannot stand. And it's just the way the menus get so overbearing and badly implemented. Of course, the Western developers aren't doing much better in the major spheres with things with so many menu transitions between every little thing. Oh well, sort of preference, yeah. There's just so many titles that I have. Trend more due to a culture. I say trend because it's something that has come out of that country and been picked up by other developers. in Japan it may just be a tradition, like an established medium that they want that the developers want to keep, but it's something that gets picked up by other companies because they want to emulate that. I'm just going to copy this. Your thoughts away, and I'll ignite your fear today. I can take you far away in my mind. So, Seals of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. You used to have to talk with the blacksmith to get new year, a merchant to restock, the lunch lady for food before every hunt, and cycling through all the quest menus. Hopefully, Wild streamlines as little of it is open world proper. Perhaps. It also comes hand in hand with things like the feel of it. The thing that disappointed me so much with the food was how it isn't customized per meal. If they actually had separate animations for the different meals and they gave you a new dish each time, then I would have more truck with that being an annoying slow bit, because then it gives you something different and interesting for the time investment. When it's the same one, it's just skip, skip, skip. Please, God, let me get through this. It used to be a little bit, no, the game's based on meal quality. The reason it's the same is because once you got the right food, you'll typically spend less time on the menus. Even then, just like it still just needs more. Um, well, doesn't everything else just prep for each hunt? The problem is they have to make that downtime worth it. They have to make that downtime feel satisfying. You need a whole separate system to keep track of the monster. If it's going to be a whole cutscene, there should be variety. I don't mind the different meal unlocks as you progress in world. However, if they bugs latter generations or might rise, I'll be very annoyed. If there is a game that designs, if a game's design expects if a game is wanting to make a slow downtime period between things, and World definitely did want to do that, then it must accompany that with satisfaction from that. because there was very clear cause to separate the two. If they only wanted to have it lean so heavily on the hunting, then they could have cut a lot of that down to purely menus, like things like the God Eater series. The menus could have been made just menus, and that could have been a very quick thing. Perhaps even keeping the cutscenes, but without the travel time between each menu. But when you give yourself a hub like that, you choose to slow things down to make your period between the hunts an explicit thing and its own established part of the gameplay loop. And if that is slow and cumbersome and not fun to be a part of, it needs to not be there. I'm just going to send Ronan and Giselle to their party because I think they must see this. It's going to be just a second. Oh, why? Why did I do this? Especially for Rise, because there were three whole areas of the hub you have to visit to make sure everyone says their piece. Oh, and World still had like two because there was that upper area as well there was that separate area as well that you needed to go to access the co-op stuff. All right, I'm back here. Rise forces you to use the co-op hub. You don't have to touch the hub in World outside of co-op. I mean, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if it forced you to, because if that's the thing it's trying, because like having people wandering around the main hub is kind of neat. Like actually having people about would help with you feeling like you're not the only one doing everything. Stop. The issue with the co-op hubs is that by default the monsters are a lot tougher and do demand you have other players if you don't spend almost an hour handling one thing. Rise doesn't change that even though the hub is now story-centric. Rise hard caps the solo story at rank. Oh. The fact that they haven't managed to figure out how to have monsters scale effectively is just humongously stupid. I'm sorry. That's just. It's just such a horrible thought. Scaling is better and works than actually scale unless someone joins. How did they mess this up so much? How did they start with World, move to Rise, and manage to? How did they devolve? that's a skill. That's a skill. In every game save for World, the story is usually split into two parts, solo and multi. Which is the problem because the assholes who join them immediately leave. I do desire to make a game that has a system of co-op that does not penalize the host for summon screwing about. And you can finish the main story in conflict in the village. Oh, oh, I'm suddenly out of my depth. This is a Monster Hunter veteran conversation now, not anything to do with me. Yeah, cool, I was thinking of gold bits. Thank you for coming to my rant. Yes, this is a Monster Hunter educational channel. In case you weren't aware, person who has never played Monster Hunter on stream. Something that puts everyone but me out of their depth. Use Super Sentai rocks and I feel bad for the Ripon because he's pranked the holy cats. Yep, I'm lost. I know it's Kamen Rider, but that stuff's so hard that I didn't even lose momentum. It's, yeah, it's good you're having fun with it. I just have no real comment. I know nothing of it. It's fair. It's good. That was so willing for me one the last time from sheer luck. Yeah, I know the basic idea of. I know the very very basic idea of Kamen Rider, and I've seen like one clip that passed me by on YouTube entirely because I think of you talking about it. Yes, I'm gonna very very distantly aware. I know it exists. Oh, and just because I can. Boom. Actually, I'm going to just because it's fun. No, of course it won't. Well, back to this. For two, maybe three reasons. But yes. No. To be clear, thick is okay because it like the reason thick is fine is because stick is being used negatively for people. Like it's been used as an insult. Thick with two C's has not. Thicker than a pumpkin pie. It's still not gonna get flagged because it's Nothing about that is taken negatively. Like, I don't think I've ever heard the term thick, at least spelt that way, be used as a bad thing. But yes, I am definitely thicker than a pumpkin pie. I have, this is, I know the measurements of this, and I do about match up to the world's largest pumpkin. Only barely, thereabouts, though a little easier when I sit down, of course. Everything spreads. Interesting seeing stuff that makes bad leadership getting twisted in a way to make the cast all good rulers. Convenient. They use that as the boat. I don't believe so. I do not think the largest pumpkin ever created, um, ever grown had enough structural integrity to be used as a boat. But I may be wrong. Everyone should be selfish when it comes to what they find beautiful. finally get human non-binary represent. Now. It's good progressiveness. It's nice to know that they're accepting and acknowledging such things. We're tearing. Keep running. Whoa. Keep running. Keep kicking back. Take a good hard look at the life you live. What just happens to binary not even? I'm guessing it just comes up in like pronoun usage and such. Oh, okay. Honestly, the longer this goes on, the more Ronin's image is just such a gremlin. Sid themselves told you nothing of who they are, and they are themselves a pretty great character, slightly autistic, but also extremely fair and extremely brutal on occasion, and don't even let personal slights mess up the system they use to judge people. That's Callista done. Now we need Skit. Okay. Ow. Blorbos from my TG. Do you know what? Would you cast an eye at the? Would you cast an eye at the channel at the stream title for me and just be sure it's changed? Oh, okay. Yeah. Drawing the Blorbos. I don't know. The vision, the look for things is kind of important for me. Oops. All it tells Attack on Titan's messages for what? Fuck off. I again, I understand. I remember a little bit more about Attack on Titan stuff, but I don't remember. But I can't say I was paying particular attention to its war message, to its thoughts on war. Another nation being kept at bay by the surrounding superpower until someone rebels and causes mass genocide. Make a better world because the current world hates them for some reason. Hmm. Ah, okay. I understand then. Full died for a second there. Oh god. Mine dies a few times a week for about a minute or two. And sometimes it'll die shortly before a stream and I'll get quite nervous. Second half, the first half was good until they revealed the Titans are very much their problem and no one else is outside of war zones. Not of came in right out says not about nations or allegiances, but just doing what's right, with some even outright saying war will always do far more harm than good. Oh, the Blorbo for the Blorbo park. Every time. Blorbos for the Blorbo throne! Gremlins for the gremlin pile! I, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, it would end in a war. Oh god, if we're the god of gremlins, oh god, we're Grom the Paunch. That's a bad end. Thick for the seat. No, Full. We're talking about these characters. We're talking about the Blorbos. Besides, the thick is the seat. It's a Blorbo. Hmm. It's a Blorbo in terms. I'm pretty sure there's no real difference. Come to think of it. No, Blorbos are definitely different. Well, as long as you do not ask any questions as to what the difference is, I will claim that Blorbos are legally distinct from rats. Actually, wonder what's the difference between a Blorbo and a Scrunkly. So a Blorbo is just a little gremlin who may or may not be friendly. Scrunglies have a distinctly more shriveled vibe to them. Like they're a Blorbo that's a mess. Because Blorbos are just little creatures, but a Scrungly is a Blorbo that's received the Golem treatment. That I think is the best. Scrunglies I have not heard the term girl failure before. No, like Happy Gremlin before midnight, the midnight snack gremlin. Yes. I think we have the answer here. Online way too much when I'm sick. And it's so you're saying so now the context of girl failure, you're an absolute mess of a girl, like Asa from Chainsaw Man. Or Kabeni from also from Chainsaw Man. Or just expecting you to start listing all of the Chainsaw Man characters. I've heard about Kabeni. Oh, shit. burn. Oh, the lights we burn have all faded out. And don't you some not. So yes, just all the just Chainsaw Man, or Chainsaw Man from Chainsaw Man. So does this mouse look suitably malicious? Because this is the mouse that has gotten their own mount killed like 10 times, or at least had serious harm inflicted on their mount many times, including having half of its blood sucked out by a rust monster. God, failure the anime. Sounds like the mouse should lose the mount. See, the mouse cannot lose the mount because the mount is summoned from the mount spell. But the problem is the mount spell only meant for really transportation, so the mount only ever gets 16 hit points. Thus, it's used so that the mouse has a decent movement speed, but goes down very quickly. Like actual animal companions scale properly. They have their own hit dice, and they'll have over 100 hit points by the end of their leveling. The mount spell provides you with a standard light horse. Also, the Fool, I'm sure you're glad that you've never had to face a Rust Lord before, because it's like a Rust monster, except it only needs to touch equipment to destroy it entirely, and lacking equipment, it can deal Constitution damage instead. The party encountered rust monsters, and it immediately ate through half their armor and weapons. It definitely put the fear of God back into them. Some of these monsters were made by assholes, except this is also the system where there is the Make Whole spell, which can take even the rust left over from the weapon and return it to full form. So I don't know about best creatures, for the sole reason that they are, by their own description, insatiably hungry for metal and cannot ever be sated. Like, it's not even needing to live. I think they still exist in 5e, which doesn't have that spell, except no, they don't. Rust Lords do not exist in 5th edition, and Rust monsters are much weaker. They have to hit a Rust monster in 5e that can't target touch AC, and it has to hit a piece of metal 5 times. A Rust monster in Pathfinder must hit an object twice to destroy it. A Rust Lord only once. They're targeting touch AC, and then the Rust Lord can then eat your blood. I assume the pudding is the same thing with the Rust monster. The whole, it's damaging your equipment. But it's the same situation. And like a lot of 5e's mechanics, it's a large chunk of things. It's a large chunk of things tossed in that have their own unique mechanics that aren't really reflected across the thing. Yes, talk about the changeling idea. Basically, changeling whose ability to shapeshift comes from unobserved, so they can change almost instantly when someone blinks and will look different unless they're actively observing themselves. So, quantum changeling. Yeah. Particle physics ain't wrong. That changeling can exist upon observation. It feels as though they would. It feels as though they would have some real attachment issues because they presumably want to be observed for fear of ceasing to exist. Oh, think of for every time someone was immortal because they're in a quantum state, I'd have two nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird. It's happened only twice. I know. I know of Alucard from Helsing Ultimate. Who's the others? Oh, this is far right. What the hell? Oh, right. Dell is one of the non-humans in the new Sentai, whose whole thing is they can shapeshift and teleport. Despite having done stuff that canonically kills everyone else, he's still around because he exists as everything and nothing. Yeah. Okay. Shypoint deserves that. So it's again not technically shapeshifting or teleporting. It's just uh, periodically being something else. No, just by the random toy of the week just literally appearing out of nowhere and smashing back down when he was giant. I I don't understand half those words. I'm not sure if I'm happier though. But giant robot bug and gravity. I'm confused about no dift and fidget. Fight. Okay. Okay. So the best. uh, the frantic attempts to try and explain what's going on is always a beauty of the internet. To take the pain, that form up that nitro vein. So where we go. Every time. If you had a nickel for every time you've done that, you'd probably have more than 2 nickels. Because that's there's a lot of it's it's one of the few times embarrassed or like humor that's kind of to do with someone being embarrassed really actually gets me. Someone just kind of like fuck shit God, it's not working. Like fighting with a keyboard. It's very amusing. I have enough to call off of work again. Enough for a holiday. Rock and stone. Wolf is coming home. Where we go. Stop your backs to deep and rock is where we go. Roughing it up like a rogue. Jeepers has done a lot to make me like it, but I'm not working third shift for them. Constant short staffing. Well done, nothing more. I can escape away from this place, not be ignored. Moves forward, time goes on, does not mean find a reason to see the sun. It's one more day just before I'm done. Intervened. Just trying to find people to fill in before that without new hands. You say you're not going to do 3 shifts for them. God, that'd be rough. The most. I spent a week once working at a plastics molding place, and I was on the middle shift, which made my day really weird. Because, like, and the problem was that shift is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Yeah, I'm familiar with the night shift a lot. I was the 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it was very strange hours. Like, not having basically the middle of the day, like most of the day. Let's do that. And the current 2 to 10, sometimes you get 8 to 2. Yeah, most of the temporary places I worked were the standard 9 till 5 a lot, but that one was a very strange one. For our places are weird, yeah, just because the way the numbers have to line up, it makes sense. Like, there are some businesses that really do need that, but can imagine. So it does want to use something hyper specific, but not have no outlet for it. What's this? What's this now? RP, like, is it character ideas again, or is it another kind of hobby? Character or video game ideas just makes like Kamen Rider-esque, but nothing really has a way for it. you'd have to describe it to me because there may be there's almost certainly a like that actually no there is absolutely a TTRPG out there for it, but like what's the look, what's it meant to be, what's the esque? Yeah, true, there's always GURPS. um what's the aesthetic, because like I mean if there's the whole like superpowers and transforming outfits, then there's just like mutants and masterminds, surely, or masks. Any of the, I imagine a lot of the superhero style stuff would do something like that. Pathfinder side, there's the classic magic, there's the classic vigilante, which is the one I basically respond to for everyone. Much thought since the last time I tried. There was also a server left because it got bad. Is that the one Dizzy was from? Yeah. Team Trans spray. Oh, okay. Another reason I don't do as much is I that's it's a reason, I guess. It's any kind of moderation stuff. Is always like risky. I mean, yeah, like I said, mutants and masterminds is kind of the default thing for superpowers and outfit swaps. Used to change paint into various other substances as power with a heavy jet set radio inspired. Call themselves Alchemiracle. That's kind of stylish. I like that. Alchemiracle's is actually is a very. I have to give you points. I have to give you a point for that term, and the stat is quite clever. Have the big boober. It's definitely not just an excuse to bring out a big booba. Specifically beyond Kamen Rider Evil being the main inspiration. Yeah, there's plenty of there's plenty of like appropriate kind of things for that sort of look. And as Terminus says, there is always GURPS. What kind of clouds? leaves his head behind. Never ask about my fan fiction. Oh, you can't. You never tell someone you've written fan fiction. So no more. Yeah, some work anime Tokyo inspired stuff, and yeah, like obviously if you're just wanting the aesthetic, that like certain amounts of aesthetic can be shoehorned into any system. Touch that ground. I'll walk on clouds. Oh, I know what to do. Yeah, see, Vigilante, fucking everything. Vigilante is the I can do anything better than you. Like, it is straight up it is straight up one of the few classes that's just like you could have a team of these and all be doing you could have a team of these for and like do every role. Aviation time. Touch the ground. Walk on cloud. Oh, oh, that didn't work. Intent is intended. Okay. One of those in 3.5 called factotum. One of the class features straight up pulling text rules text out of the other classes. Yeah, I'm not you think you've put? I think didn't you say factotum was one of the ones you wish Pathfinder had, like as in where it was? Maybe that was well before I learned how vigilante could stretch. The main one I wanted was incarnate. Yes, I do remember you mentioning incarnate. I don't recall much about it, but I do remember it. Where you are. Fiction remains unknown. Two writers, one based in foot and one being a globetrotter. Being energy wave, sister for being radio, and the globetrotter being a photographer called Forge. George takes pictures to learn about the true history of a place, with the monsters being what perception of a historical figure in the world. Fan fiction is always cringe. It's part of it's requirement. Shoot. Things got lost chapter 1, so you all don't get to know where any of it is. Hey, look, I have technically fan fiction somewhere, and that's actually kind of extensive. Like, I've got the longest one I've written is like the one that doesn't exist anymore is like 80 chapters. No, as in like it's fan fiction because yes, it does take place in established worlds and such, but like I hesitate to call it fan fiction because it's like it often very, very far diverged from how they were styled, from like the themes of the thing, which is which is what pushed me into doing my own world building and my own like custom worlds and such, because I realized like I had no attachment to the thing I was basing it in, because like I was so far out there in terms of what it was about, so I just kind of started doing my own thing. Fanfics are way too kind of killer happy. I don't know. It's fan fiction. Who cares, basically? My friends did that. Started as a Gundam Seed / FF13 crossover. Now it's something else entirely. So I actually did. It was ages ago now, but I did the thing that crossed over like 50 different IPs. Badly, but I was younger and starting out, but it did help me learn to write. Every 30 chapters there was a noticeable jump in quality, and it was significant. It was very strange as well, given that I would do that every specific amount I would suddenly improve. There was no incremental every chapter looking a bit better. It was I'd write a load, and then suddenly the next load would be much better. It's very strange. Very weird. You leveled up your skill, the bar is just invisible. Yeah, it's the thing was, it's not, it wasn't the leveling up that was like MMO style where you've got hundreds of tiers of a skill. It wasn't like one skill point. It was like, this is a system where there are 5 levels of skill. It's like the change was much more significant. It was weird how tiered it was, and it continued after that. Like every kind of chunk, I would level up, and there would be a clear improvement from one block to the next, between moments. No, well, you're doing so above your level, you jump several levels. No, it's nothing to do, nothing like that. Just my point being, like, this is a system where there are fewer, clearer skill levels, so each one shows more. But yeah, it's just very strange. Like chapters 1 to 30, basically identical. Then chapter 31 to 60, miles different compared between from 30 to 31, big change, but no change the previous 30 or the following 30. Very weird. It's also been a while since I properly did that stuff. God, I need to do more writing. Anyway, I'm going to put this on pause, and it's been a bit, so I am going to send us to raid Semi. Tom, I'm sure you'll be glad to see Semi again, given that you were the one who I think pushed her over the 1,000 follower milestone, and caused her to get very flustered. I think I remember that as one of the more successful raids, and it was quite good. Yes, it's actually been not too bad for my productivity. My head pain has come and gone a bit, but I'm doing okay at the moment. I did get 5 of the 9 done. Yes, 5 of the 9. And done to a point where you can kind of vaguely understand who is doing what. Farah is the only one with a cestus. There is only one rat. More Blorbos to come. Yes, 4 more Blorbos. And then I've got a load of other like little things that aren't necessarily people. But yes, forget to use the raid message. Thanks to those who did come to see today and kind of muddle through this with me. But let's go say hi to Semi. Until spring rises once more and another wonderful day. Bye for now.